viewers, hello. This is HopeGrill, and tonight is going to be a very interesting one. Remember that on HopeGrill, what we basically do is help teach hope, infuse hope, and also experience hope at the end of the show. My name is Crystal Chibu, and I work with parents of persons with disability and also persons with disability themselves. At the end of this show, I'm sure that you will understand why I brought my guest onto the show. We hope to have a good time tonight, and we're just going to be telling you. So with me tonight is Oludare Akinlaja. Oludare, please can my viewers meet you?
Okay, thank you, Crystal. It's nice to be here. My name is Oludare Akinlaja. I'm founder and president of Yadaversity. Yadaversity is a technical and vocational education training school, and our idea is to be able to make sure that knowledge is practical, knowledge is applicable. We want to be able to make sure we make people relevant in society. So over the years, we have always expected knowledge to just be, we cram, we pour, we cannot necessarily transfer that knowledge to do anything in society. But what we want to do at Yadaversity is to make sure people have the skills, the knowledge, the information, the wherewithal to be able to live as relevant people in society. So it's a combination of technical, vocational, and just practical knowledge in general.
Interesting.
Yes, that's what we do at Yadaversity.
So how long have you been doing Yadaversity for?
Okay, so officially Yadaversity has been running for almost 2 years now. But of course, before then, I've been lecturing and training. I've always loved how knowledge is exchanged, and both from the area of generating the knowledge itself to sharing it. So I'd always loved teaching and lectures. I'd been doing that before we now said, okay, it's time for us to do our own system or produce our own structure to carry out what we really intend to do. Because there's little you can do when you're in other people's structures.
True that.
Yeah, so we decided to say, okay, let's build ours and see how we can create parallel systems to help influence how education takes place in Africa.
So remember, with me is Oludare Akinlaja, the founder of Yadaversity, and we are on HopeGrill. Remember that at the end of this show, you would have been taught hope, you would have infused, or you'd have gotten some hope into you, and you would have experienced hope. So you eat hope, you chew hope, you grill hope, you feel hope, you experience hope at the end of the day. So you told us that Yadaversity is practical knowledge. And I remember that basically for HopeGrill also we work more with persons with disabilities. So tell me, what is practical knowledge got to do with what is practical knowledge got to do with persons with disability?
It's a very interesting area, and that's why when I go for education conference, Crystal, and I see people that are in the areas of special needs, children with special needs, who with special needs, I celebrate them a lot.
You do?
Yes, because do
you want us to give a clap?
Yeah, we should for people with.
So to everyone that is working in the space of persons with disability and special needs.
It's an interesting, and that's because one of the problems we have in Africa is because in Africa it's not with this one go to school. Parents used to hide their children.
True that.
So the system did not take into cognizance that a time will come where we will need curriculums or curricula to influence or to affect people with such disabilities. Now, what's happening now is that you're having people who are coming up with these ways to influence children. And, it's until recently, I asked them to find out that maybe some people in our class have special needs we didn't just know. So you look back when we were in primary school and they used to call, this one does not do anything. And maybe the child just could not understand the way he was being taught.
Yeah, maybe the child probably had dyslexia.
Just understand what you were saying. Wow. And yet he was insulted. My little self, I remember that when I was growing up, I always dropped things. Now, getting older now, you will know that, that might be some form of disability. But you were saying you are careless, you can't hold things properly, And so just as the pressure people with certain special needs always had growing up, but what we're having now is that we're having systems that say, okay, you know what? These people, we can actually create a system for them. There are multiple ways of intelligence. I don't always have to learn by seeing. I might be able to learn by hearing.
Hold that thought, because I think you're running ahead of me.
Yeah.
Last week, for as many people that were on HopeGrill, you remember that we had sexuality and disability. And the week before then, we were actually with the happy teacher. And today, I've also brought back again someone in the educational sector, because I think inclusive education for person with disability is something that is huge. So you started talking about, you know, different forms of learning. So I mean, it's not all the time that, you know, you have to write and it has to be math and English. So tell me a little bit more about that.
So let me give you an instance. I've always had discussions of people tell me, so there are two schools of thought. Do we have to teach in our native language or in English language, for instance? Like a case study. So some people are arguing for English language. Some people are saying, oh, why don't you just teach people in their native language, at least for them to be able to comprehend the concept.
Okay.
Then to take it to a global scale, you can then make them learn English at some point. So you have many people that I care about arguing for and against. But I think the essential balance word is this. What is learning? So
maybe you should define, I mean, because Oludare, it's getting a little bit more interesting, because I know you probably know a lot of people, I would say quite a number of people that have, you know, one form of disability or the other, or even people that are working within the space of persons with disability. And now, you know, we're talking learning. So for you, what is learning not just math and English? Like, you know, what's 2 times 2 is 5, 2 times 10 is 20. Is that not what learning is supposed to be about? Is it something else?
To an extent. You see, what I'm always careful about is, you know, a beautiful Hebrew text will always tell us not to forget the ancient landmarks.
Okay.
Now, what that means is that the people that designed education curriculum over the years designed it based on the needs of that time. So we should not say that their thinking was obsolete, so to say.
Okay.
We shouldn't insult their level of intelligence. That intelligence brought us to where we are. What we are now saying is the times are evolving. There are new challenges we have to face. Some children can't recognize numbers. That's why they now said to say, if 6 farmers do a job for 4 hours, how long will it then take 12 farmers to do the job? What that means was that they found out that sometimes some people understand things in sentences and in words than in numbers.
Wow. So are you telling me that education has grown to such level of, you know, recognizing that? Because, I mean, if you look back, and if we take Nigeria as a case study, how many schools would we say are being able to identify, you know, such kind of learning? Because I don't know if my child cannot, you know, the regular kind of...
Because it's expensive, Krista. It's expensive to teach children with special needs. It's expensive because it takes manpower, it takes patience, it takes man hours, and it takes equipment. For certain schools abroad, for instance, now, virtual reality and augmented reality is becoming a way to teach. Now, those glasses we wear for watching movies in Nigeria, or certain hubs, or certain people are already using it to learn abroad. They want to create a real environment. So they are teaching you space, for instance. They're not explaining space to you on the blackboard. They are giving you a virtual reality mask, and you feel like you are wearing all your mask and all your kit, and you are in space. You can see Mars, you can see Venus, because some people learn by feeling.
Last week, for as many people that were
they learn by feeling. They learn by laying their hands on things like that. So if they're not feeling it, they are not learning. You know, so they are creating environments where that can learn. So it's the same thing with people with needs and disabilities. What are the needs that we have in Nigeria that are consistent?
Hold that thought. If you're just joining us this evening, this is HopeGrill. And on HopeGrill, we actually teach, we infuse, and we experience hope. And with me this evening is the founder of Yadaversity, Oludare Akinlaja. When we're talking inclusive education and what it means for persons with disability or people with special needs to be able to learn. And I mean, I'm seeing that, you know, learning goes just beyond your regular maths and English. And he is saying that, you know, there's so many ways to learn. Oludare, Hope you mentioned earlier, and I really would want you to clarify.
Yeah.
What will be your thoughts on inclusive education? You know, like you rightly said, there are two schools of thoughts.
Yeah.
Some people think that persons with disability should be kept together,
Yeah.
and so you should have, say, the school for children with cerebral palsy, or school for the blind or for the deaf.
Yeah.
But some people are saying, you know, we should have a system where you can bring everybody with you know, together, and whether you have one form of disability or not, we should be able to have people together within one room. So what is the school of thoughts you do agree with?
Like I tell people, I said I always pursue the balance of life. What that means is that certain things must be in equilibrium.
Okay.
When I was in King's College, for instance, I had blind people that were in King's College. But because of their state, it will shock you that Cobhams was in King's College with me.
Oh, yeah, really?
That has gone on now to become a... So his disabilities did not affect him. But Cobhams was taught at a particular pace. Because they were not readily... But strangely, I think Cobhams is a different example, because Cobhams was going for international debate as a blind person. Was going to represent King's College on international debate level, even as a blind student.
Interesting.
Yeah, so really, the reason why people are saying in separate classes might not be to say you are lesser or you are better. The people that are complete are better, the people that are blind will go one side. What it so simply means is that because of the special attention it takes to create a unique curriculum that can make them inclusive in the education.
So would it then be that it should be the educational system or the school that should do the necessary investment that is needed?
Yes.
Because then we should have persons with disability and the ones without disability in the same school.
You should have schools where you can bring together children with disabilities and children that every human being has a form of disability.
Wow, that's another school of thought.
Because for some people it's just obvious to some others. I have met complete people who don't look as if there's anything wrong with them, and those are the most dangerous, the ones that are evil, that are unseen. There are people that their eyes are open, but they can't recognize differences in numbers.
Sometimes the past situation, and maybe that's one of the things we would need to talk about on HopeGrill. So we were talking about, you know, the schools being prepared to be able to, you know, accommodate persons with disability in the facility, and I was asking you what your thoughts were on it. So what do you really think? Because I mean, you saying that way back then in King's College, you used to have, you know,
blind students,
people that were visually impaired, you know, in school with
normal
the other
regular
kids.
students,
And why will now, I mean, right now, I think we have a lot of schools trying to ensure that, you know, they have something defined for them differently.
Because it takes more resources, it takes more attention.
But if I hear what you're saying, what you're saying is our educational system should be prepared
for it. Because in King's College then they used to have a place they used to call the room for the blind boys. So what normally happened was that they always had where they went to take their studies. They always had where they went to read. They always had where they went to do. But it didn't mean they were not working amongst us. They used to work among other students. They used to play with other students. They used to play instruments. They were in the music department like other students. They did the things they wanted to do. You know, so it just means that when you're putting your school structure, you must make sure you have allowances for such things.
So if you have people out there and you're listening to me this evening on HopeGrill and you have a school, you need to be, you know, you need to start preparing and ensuring that your school is an inclusive school. You need to start putting systems and processes in place to be able to accommodate persons with disabilities. So tell me, if you're thinking of persons with disability and education, what are some of the processes and systems that you think the owners of schools should start preparing for?
For instance, if I go to a school and I don't see a riser, it speaks to me that you're not thinking that a child or anybody that is on the wheelchair will come to your school.
Sure that.
You know, or I go to a school and I don't, you know, so we have to just know, like I was telling you earlier. And when I hear people say, oh, is the disabilities you can see is even better. There are some that are, how do psychopaths get into schools?
True.
I just begin to kill other people's children. Those are disabilities you don't see, but they are very present. You know, so now that's just by the way. It might not be an exact comparison between that kind of disability and obvious disabilities, but what it just means is that we need to start to make sure that they put in the learning spaces must accommodate children with such disabilities. The learning tools, the learning equipment, learning tools must ensure that you are thinking of children with disabilities coming into your system.
And I think also when we start thinking, and you're a proprietress, or you're planning to have a school of your own, or you're planning to have a learning center, a resource center, whatever you want to call it, or even a company of your own, you need to start putting the design in mind to have persons with disabilities factored into it. Tell us a little bit about Yadaversity as we begin to round up, and what our viewers can learn from Yadaversity and how they can take advantage of what you do at Yadaversity. Okay,
so I tell people in practical things, my greatest desire behind Yadaversity is two things. First of all, I want you to see the natural universities you go to and Yadaversity and have to make up your mind. Do I really want to learn something that will make me relevant in life? Or I just want to go and acquire a degree? I'm not saying don't go and acquire a degree, but if you're coming to university, it means that you want to learn something that you can readily apply in life. That's from technical skill, hand skills, to vocational skills, to workplace education. In fact, the word used internationally to categorize what we do at Yadaversity is called technical and vocational education training.
Technical and vocational education training.
It's called TVET. It's universally noticed. It universally covers areas of technical, vocational, workplace education, lifelong learning, experiential learning, adult learning. All that is.
I mean, and this is just by the side. I remember one of my friends telling me, you know, sometimes ago he was trying to work with a designer, or a company requested that they needed a graphic designer, and he was told to help them recruit, and so he gave them someone, and they said, where is his certificate? And he said, do you need a designer? Or you need someone with a certificate? Because if you need someone with a certificate, you will get a certificate. But if you need a designer, I'm presenting to you a designer, someone I've tested and proven will be able to do design work. So if you're out there and you're probably thinking, because, you know, what we're talking about, just a couple of people out there that are probably not being able to get a certification, and because of that they think they are not relevant. I want you to realize that you're relevant.
HopeGrill, right?
You need to get grilled because, you know, definitely what you have, the skill that you have will amount to something. All you need to do is polish it up and do something with it. Before I allow Oludare to say his final words, I want you to remember this is HopeGrill. This is where we grill and we teach hope, we infuse hope, and we make you experience hope at the end of the day. And my name is Crystal Chibu. Like you know, I work with persons with disability and also their caregivers, because disability, I tell people, is a thing of the mind. And I know that a lot of people that, you know, have come in contact with me know that disability is a thing of the mind. I have a book published called, and we'll come back to Oludare, and I want you to talk about your book also. I have a book published and it's called Irede, The Unending Story of Hope. If you've not gotten a copy of that book, you need to go and get a copy. And you can tell me, oh, I don't live in Nigeria, I probably don't know how to get, you know, the physical copy. Yes, the book is on Amazon, and you can get the e-copy of the book on Amazon, and I'm sure that you will have such an amazing time. I'm going to be giving snippets into the book, and I'm going to be giving some free gifts. So if you are not following me right now, you need to follow me, because you will have access to the book Irede sometimes this week, and I hope that you will have an amazing time with it. And I also do a not-for-profit that you know is very, very dear to my heart, and I think sometimes on HopeGrill we'll be talking about it. Is also called Irede Foundation. I work with children that have been amputated either as a result of congenital issues or as a result of trauma. We're not talking Irede this evening. So Oludare,
yes,
I know you have a book published.
Yes, I do.
I also wanted to, you know, talk to you about sustainability. Very quickly, can you tell us about your book and also about sustainability?
Okay, my book is The Leadership Revolution, Not Too Young to Lead.
Not too young to lead.
Yes.
Not too young to lead. So you can actually be a 9, 10-year-old.
Yeah, 11, 12, 13-year-old. I'm a firm believer in the concept of leadership and the correct interpretation of what leadership is. So I just, in the midst of everything, I'm a person that believes in the policy of a nation is as good as the passion of the drive we have. Most of the things you are fighting, Crystal, is one policy issue.
Yeah.
Is one right leader in a place that can influence a good policy, and it happens. So I'm a firm believer in leadership and how leadership can change the way we live as human beings. If we have proper leaders in different spheres of life, we will live better and dwell together in better environment. So that's why I wrote the book, Leadership Revolution, Not Too Young to Lead. But it's not on any platform yet, because we have a strategy behind it. Our intent is to make sure we put it into the hands of students. We want to make sure every student in Nigeria gets a copy of the book.
And so if my viewers want to get in touch with you and
Yeah,
they want to reach out to you, how can they?
On our Instagram page, on our handles, we have phone numbers that you could call. So what people are doing now is even people are buying for other people. So you say, okay, I want to distribute 200 copies to a particular school because I need them to have it. So we have people that are doing that. And in fact, that's my greatest desire. Not really who buys one copy or who is able to do one copy. I want the people that we can influence with it. And I'm really interested in the teenage years, the young people who are still in college or in secondary school.
Young.
Yes, to catch them and reorientate their concepts of leadership. That's where my target is, and that's where my interest lies. Those are the people that I really, really, really want to have copies of the book. So, sustainability. It's a beautiful word. In fact, the mission of Yadaversity has sustainable development of Africa.
Exactly, and that's why for me, and you know, especially for social enterprises and also for not-for-profits and people, and even for businesses, it's important that you have a sustainable business at the end of the day. So I just want to quickly touch on sustainability.
Nigerians are, one of the problems we have in Africa is because of the pressure of survival. We think survival before sustenance. They're two different things.
Okay.
Now, if you are surviving, you are just living for the now.
If you're surviving,
you're living
for the now. If you're sustainable,
you are looking at what will happen in 2 weeks, what will happen in 3 months,
you're
what will
thinking
happen
of the
in 3 years,
future.
what will happen in 4 years.
Like you can literally see.
You know what I'm saying? I'll give you a practical example quickly. Under the Jonathan administration, they gave you win grants to certain people.
Yeah.
Now, certain people collected that money, and the first thing they went to buy was a car. The first thing they went to get was an office space. Now, some businesses require certain things.
Yeah.
But did your business require it at that time? But what really happens is that once we get investments or think of money or generate income in Africa, let me not say Africa because I don't know what happens in Kenya. Let me use my military environment in Nigeria. The moment we are about to get money, the first thing we're thinking is, how do I get a car?
How do I get it?
I'll be entering Danfo and then they can get a pep. They must know that I have hammer. They must know that money has entered. And that's survival. We're not thinking, oh, what of even 6 months? This money is not coming in as much as it is coming in now.
Okay, I'll hold that on. Because, I mean, there's so many lessons that you're dishing out, and I just hope my viewers are getting those lessons this evening.
Yeah.
Please do not think survival, think sustainability, think ahead.
Yes.
Let your vision go beyond what I'm going to have for the now, and think of what I'm going to have in the future. So every time you interact with people, do not think survival, think the future, sustainability. Okay?
That's it.
Thank you so much, Oludare. It's such a pleasure to have you on our show this evening. You remember, if you have any questions, you can DM your questions to us, or you can just put your comments in the box below. We will reach out to you. You can reach me at crystalchibu.com or Crystal Chibu. Those are my handles across all my different platforms. And we will answer your questions. Oludare, thank you very much for coming this evening. Remember that Oludare's book you can get and you can buy for other people. If you know any teenager, if you know any young person in your life that really needs to have the leadership mentality, that book is for them. And if you've not gotten the book, you read it, you're missing a lot. It exudes hope. It actually infuses hope.
I got the copy, so.
Yes. Oludare was one of the very first set of people that got their copies of Irede book. And he literally teaches hope, he infuses hope, and he helps you experience hope. And you can get it in Latana, you can get it across all the Ebanos stores, you can get it at Super Saver Supermarket, and more importantly, you can get the e-copy on Amazon. And very soon, like I told you last week, we're going to come in to a store near you,
Yeah.
and we will get it to you. Thank you very much for being on Hope Grill this evening. I hope that you have gotten some dose of hope that will take you through the week. If you were unable to catch us live today, you can go on our YouTube channel tomorrow, and then you'll have a deep dive, and you can take your time to listen and listen and listen. Remember, this is Hope Grill. God bless you.